I am busy, strugglers. I don't have time to watch shows like I used to. The only things I've watched this year are Little Einsteins and The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. So what's the next best thing? Okay, say it with me. Watch only the first episode of a show, then guess the entire series arc with perfect accuracy, and then talk with your friends when you're done and let them tell you how accurate you were. Strap yourselves in. We are back for part 3 of guessing finales after the first episode. Today I will be tackling the era-defining smash hit Glee, and the lovely Hannah Bayles will be my predictions expert. Then I'll take on one of NBC's early 2000s primetime darlings, Heroes, and I'll be joined by the wonderful Drew Gooden. Wow, Scott is such a good guy, giving these smaller creators a platform. There, I beat you to it. Both of these shows are a little bit different than the others that I've covered in this series so far. I feel like I have a little bit more real-life experience with Glee and Heroes than I did with any of the others. So while I definitely have not watched these shows, I cannot stress that enough, they're also not completely foreign to me either. Let's start with Glee. Let's start with the fun one. Glee was massive when I was in junior high and high school, and it was unavoidable. I've heard so many song covers over the years from Glee. I'm also 100% sure that one of the main actors died, but I do not know if it happened during the show or after the show ended. That's gonna probably make things pretty tough. So here's just kind of a quick rundown of the first episode, and then I'll give you my official predictions on what happens for the rest of the show. It all begins with Will Schuester, the McKinley High Spanish teacher, and he offers to take over the school's Glee Club program when the previous coach gets fired for being like a weirdo loser or something, which is interesting because I think Will might also be a bit of a weirdo loser. We'll get to that later. The principal says that it'll cost the school $60 a month to continue the program, and Will offers to just pay the fee himself, and he's gonna lie to his wife about it because they can't really afford that. His wife, who is extremely concerned about money, mind you, so much so that she almost convinces him to quit his teaching job and become an accountant, but we will get back to that again later. Speaking of Will's wife, these two are definitely gonna get a divorce, all right? She tells Will that she's pregnant, and it basically rocks his world, right? He's like, dang, I guess I do need to shape up and take this whole career thing a little bit more seriously. I need to provide for my family after all. Well, I think it's all a ruse. I don't think she's actually pregnant. They kind of hinted at in the first episode that she's manipulative and she has spending problems. She likes to shop kind of carelessly. So what I think is going on is that she's tricking him into getting a higher paying job by saying, oh, hey, you're gonna have a kid now, so you need to, figure things out. Let's get some money coming in, and then she can keep spending. Fast forwarding a little bit, this is when we're introduced to one of our protagonists, I guess. Rachel. She has one of the most unhinged backstories I've ever heard, and honestly, she didn't seem like a great person, but that has got to be a pilot episode fake out. There's no way that they keep somebody this unlikable for the whole show that is a main character. I really hope they don't do that. So anyway, the Glee Club forms, they get together and they're rehearsing for a competition that they're gonna be a part of. And for some reason, they're all acting like they suck.
We suck.
It'll get there.
The singing is very good. So what is the problem here? Is it that the choreography is a little awkward? That is so fixable. Like, why are they acting like they're so bad? Will, desperate for more Glee Club members, tries talking Sue into getting some of her cheerleaders to join. Sue is the cheerleading coach, and that's kind of where the school's funding was going. Apparently the cheer program is really good. And Sue, she rules with an iron fist. I have to just acknowledge Jane Lynch. She absolutely kills it in every role she's ever in. I love Jane Lynch. She's usually playing Jane Lynch, so she smacks it out of the park. This is gonna sound like a weird comparison, but she's on the same level as Andy Samberg to me, as in like people that usually play the same type of character, but they play it so freaking well. And she's so good that I don't think the show is gonna keep her in just this cheerleading coach role. I think she's gonna be involved at a larger scale at some point. Like, she'll be the school's superintendent or the principal or something, and she's gonna soften up a little bit. She's not gonna be this hard-nosed like, arr. I think she'll be a little bit more of a sweetheart, but she's gonna be like in a more important, bigger role in the grand scheme of things. Let's talk about Finn for a second. He's the other protagonist, I think. There's a scene where he is singing his heart out in the showers, which he probably thinks he's the only one there. You never can be too sure. I hardly like to sing in the privacy of my own house when I'm making a song for my job because I'm afraid somebody's gonna walk in. Imagine singing in the school shower like this. You're insane. Anyway, Will is kind of spying on him like an absolute creep. A student in the showers. What the hell are you doing, sir? And then later, he also blackmails Finn into being in the Glee Club by planting weed on him. Will he's a piece of shit, right? Dude's not a good guy, and he's one of the main characters. Is that a theme here? Are the main characters not good people? It's like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but a little bit less obvious. I am nervous that Will is going to end up having a relationship with a student. I might still just be in Pretty Little Liars mode because that happened in that show, but he has shown that he's not a very morally sound dude, so I think maybe he's gonna hook up with a student. Hopefully, at the very least, it's somebody that has graduated already, but even then, okay, let's talk about Emma. She's another character on the show. Emma works at the high school with Will, and she not so subtly wants to be with him. She's got these crazy stalker tendencies, right? But sometimes they make it a little bit cute, okay? So there's this scene where she gives Will a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to share, and it's this cute little interaction. They have a sweet conversation. I think later on in the show, something about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is gonna come up between those two, and it would be so cute. And if they didn't do that, they really missed their opportunity because that would be awesome. But I wanna be clear, Emma's obsession with Will, I do not think is cute. On a grander scale, I don't think so. And Will is clearly not into her at this point, but I do think somebody that is really into Emma is the football coach. And there's something about Emma and the football coach, both he and Emma are kind of stalkery, and I think the show is gonna make us think that's endearing, and they're gonna get married or something. Finn eventually does that whole High School Musical thing, which by the way is also just the Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off thing, which came first, but I digress. Where he's like, oh, I can't sing, I'm a jock, I need to pick a lane, people are only allowed to do one thing. So Finn is like trying to decide, do I do sports, do I do music? Maybe I can do both.
You can't win without me, and neither can they.
Okay, that's what Eddie thought, bud, and they won without him, so maybe you're not so special, but I don't think he's gonna do the thing where he chooses both. I think he's actually gonna pick one, and he's gonna pick music, and he's gonna quit sports, and it's gonna be a whole thing, and the football team's gonna hate him for it, but he is gonna just go full Glee Club. And then I think after graduation, he's going to be a full-time touring, like, artist, where he'll be in a band or a backup singer for a group. He's gonna be a full-time musician, a full-time singer. He kept saying in the episode, like, nobody from this town is special, man. You know, we're all just a bunch of nobodies. And that means for a fact, he's gonna be a somebody, you know? And then the show ends with this big grand cover of Journey's Don't Stop Believin'. My family had this song in our iTunes library back in the day. I've heard it like a million times, and I'm just now kind of connecting that it's from Glee. And the song is just so dang good that it lures Will back in. He's decided he's not gonna go be an accountant. He's gonna stick around. He's gonna be the Glee Club coach. He's gonna work for the school. The power of music has lured him back into a life of financial ruin. It's happened to the best of us, what can I say? Okay, so that's a really general overview of what happens in the first episode. Now, I have seen other shows like Scrubs and that High School Musical show. I watched Eric's commentaries on that. So I know for a gosh darn fact that some students and Glee Club members are gonna come back after graduation and help coach the Glee Club. It's too freaking obvious, guys. That's definitely gonna happen. I wanna at least guess who it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Rachel, and I wanna say Mercedes. Yep, those two. Okay, I also think, I might have forgotten to mention this during the recap, but they went to a different school to see their Glee Club perform because they know they're gonna have to compete against them at some point, and that school is very good. I am certain that they're gonna be kids from this school that transfer over to McKinley High. Have you ever seen Friday Night Lights? It's gonna be like, oh, those are our rivals, we hate those people, and then they have to work together. It's gonna be beautiful, and I love that trope. Okay, woof. There are my predictions. I hope it all made sense. The people that got to be on this show are so lucky because they didn't just get to be TV stars. They got to be freaking rock stars. The Glee cast still has like 7 million monthly listeners on Spotify. That's ridiculous. This was a dream and they lived it. Good for them, man. We're gonna check in with Hannah and see how I did. But before that, very quickly, in the spirit of the holiday season, let's first check in with Mall Santa with a word from this video's sponsor.
And what would you like for Christmas this year, little one?
A Helix mattress, please.
Ah, convenient. Helix, now they make premium mattresses and bedding, correct?
And they're sent straight to your door for free if you live in the US.
Sent to your door, you say? Well, it looks like I won't have to make as many deliveries this year. Ho, 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 ho.
Right, so anyway, I took their Helix sleep quiz, and since I like a medium firmness mattress and I sleep on my side, I was matched with the Midnight mattress. So don't get it confused with my friend Jeremy, who likes medium firmness mattress, but he sleeps on his stomach.
Sounds like little Jeremy would like a dusk mattress then.
Yeah, probably, I think so. We're talking about me, Santa. My mom and dad have had the Midnight Luxe mattress for a very long time now, and they say that it's the best mattress they've ever slept on.
Oh, I know it is. I see them when they're sleeping after all.
They used to get a lot of aches and pains with their old mattress, but that doesn't happen anymore.
Now, what about flexible payment plans and financing options?
Dude, of course they have that. And they also have a 10-year warranty and a 100-night sleep trial, so you can test it out and make sure you love it. And I know you have elves and everything, but I have a really good link that you can use if you want to get 20% off and 2 free pillows as well.
Well, Santa sure likes the sound of that.
It's helixsleep.com/Scott Cramer, or you can use the QR code that's on screen right now.
On screen, but we're in a shopping mall. We're not on a screen.
Right. Thanks for using my links when I have them. It helps me out a ton. All right. Welcome, Hannah, everybody. Say hello. Okay, Hannah, good to see you. Hit that high note real quick.
Oh, actually, that was so high. Did you hear it? Only usually dogs can hear that.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's how high it was. So, Hannah.
Yeah.
I sent over a little list of my guesses for where the show is going to end up. Let me know what you think. How did I do?
Will is going to find out that his wife isn't actually pregnant. She just wanted him to get a higher paying job so she could have a more comfortable life. They'll split up and he will date Emma briefly. Good guess. No, she isn't actually pregnant.
Let's go.
But she thinks she is. She discovers that she has a hysterical pregnancy, but she keeps it a secret. She doesn't tell him.
Now, what does that mean? Is that something I'm unfamiliar with?
Her body is mimicking the symptoms of being pregnant.
Oh, so she isn't actually pregnant, but she does think that she is?
Yeah, for like a episode or two.
His wife, and I think she was written this way, does she kind of suck?
Yeah. I think they really wanted to bring Will and Emma together from the beginning. So they wanted them to have that chemistry.
So then do Will and Emma end up long term?
Yes.
They do get married?
They do in the season finale, so.
You'll see later on how I messed that one up pretty bad, but for now, I guess maybe like half of that was kind of right.
You say Emma will end up with the football coach by the end of the show. Both he and Emma have stalkerish tendencies, true, and I think they'll find each other endearing after a while. Emma does get engaged to the football coach.
No,
So
what?
they are.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So wait, what?
The weird thing is, I don't think she ever really liked him, though.
Oh,
It's
okay.
very strange. I think she was just like, well, Will's married, so. But the wedding is during sectionals, regionals, one of the big competitions. And Emma postpones the wedding so she can go with the Glee Club.
Wait, is Emma involved in the Glee Club then?
Tangentially, just through Will.
Just through Will.
Ooh, this next one is actually a thought that I had. I'm nervous that Will is going to have a relationship with a former student. He's already been shown to have questionable morals. I could see him secretly dating one of his Glee Club members. Did this come after the scene with Finn in the shower?
Well, it was, I guess, kind of connected to that, but I was thinking after he planted weed in his locker.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a scumbag.
Crazy. From the very beginning. No, he never dates a former student. Although there is this plot line where Rachel starts to get like a crush on him. I think a former student also got a crush on him and then like lost her mind when he rejected her. So he's like hesitant to reject her, which is weird because then it just grows. But they do sing some cool ballads together.
Oh,
Some
that's good.
duets. They sound great, but yeesh.
Let's see the next one. I'm happy about this next guess.
I've seen Scrubs and High School Musical. Some of these kids are definitely going to come back as teachers or coaches in the final season. I'm thinking Rachel and Mercedes will lead the Glee Club as teachers. They'll use that storyline to throw in a ton of flashback episodes in the final season for nostalgia. As far as I know, that doesn't happen at the end. They don't come back as official teachers, but at some point after Kurt and Rachel are out of high school, they do come back and help with the Glee Club.
Okay, so Kurt and Rachel.
Let's do a little quick fact check on me for that. I think it's like season 4 or 5. Rachel, she's on Broadway. She's living her dream, but then she flops and has to move back. So she goes back to Ohio. I was right. It was Kurt and Rachel. They decide to like take on the Glee Club themselves. So I guess you're half right.
Okay, I'll take a half right. What you were saying just now about Rachel is kind of what I thought Finn's thing was gonna be. And I think I have that written down somewhere.
Yeah, Finn will have to do the thing where he chooses music or sports, but I don't think he'll choose both like they do in other shows. I think he's going to straight up quit sports so he can do music full time. Finn does continue to do both, but it's clear that Glee is where his heart is at. Finn will go on to be a successful touring musician. He kept talking about how nobody from their town is special, and that's a dead giveaway that he's going to be special. The actor who played Finn, Corey Monteith, passed away after, I believe, the 3rd season.
Oh,
and
it
so
was during the show? See that? I got my facts
was.
mixed up. I thought it was well after the show was over.
they had a really sad episode where they like went to his funeral and they sang like really beautiful songs. You know, a character, like a person dies unexpectedly and then they just write them out of the show and then they keep going.
This whole time my thought was that they wrapped everything and then it was after the show was over that he had, because somebody else also on the cast died as well. Somebody drowned, I thought.
Yes, Santana.
And that must have been after.
That was after. On the episode of The Quarterback, she sings the song If I Die Young. She sang it so beautifully, but like people were like, this is so kind of dark to look back and see her talking about that.
Man. Well, hey, this next one, I know I've said this for all of them, but this next one, I'm like 100% confident in.
There will be a couple of students who transfer to McKinley High from their rival school, Vocal Adrenaline. They will inexplicably become main characters even though they won't show up until around season 3.
Come on.
Now, this I have to call in backup for this one.
Okay.
So I got interviewed a couple times on the Gleek of the Week podcast.
Oh, interesting.
It's hosted by this guy, Andrew. I love him. When did Darren Criss come onto the show? Because he was one of them.
Darren Criss. Oh, from that school.
Yes.
Oh, I love being right.
Yes. Season 2.
No way.
So, yeah.
Let's go.
You're right.
Oh, that feels good. That feels real good. I've been missing a lot, and I love to hit one like that. That is great.
But I want you to know, to no fault of your own, any show that runs for this long has been forsaken by God. Like, things go crazy and we are just along for the ride. Sue will eventually become the principal of the school and soften up a bit. Same thing as the Glee members. One of the former cheerleaders will take over as coach after graduation. Sue does become the principal. That is right.
Go! Finishing strong. She's just too good. She's too damn good to be delegated to a coaching role. She's got to be in charge of everything.
I think that she was from the very beginning, she was a more compelling character than the original principal.
She might be like the most iconic character to come from that show.
Oh my gosh. And such a unique character too. She's constantly trying to sabotage the Glee Club. So we get this like evil villain, but at the same time we're like, but she's so good.
So now we've gone through. If you had to give me like a letter grade overall, how do you think I fared in this little experiment?
Can I give you 2? 1 for accuracy and 1 for effort?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. I feel like from what you were given in the first episode, A-. Really. Like these make sense. Accuracy is probably, we're working with maybe a C.
Yeah. There were a lot of them where it's like, oh, you're kind of right on this, but you're wrong on this. There weren't many where I was like totally right or totally wrong. So a C feels good to me.
Maybe I would give it a C+. See, I'm not good at this. I think I'm a little too nice.
Wow, actually, a C+ makes me feel really bad about myself, actually. So maybe you should move it up a little bit. I am actually pretty impressed with your knowledge.
You should know the research I did for this video.
No kidding.
Because I read a lot of the Glee wiki. I watched Mike's Mike, his videos on Glee.
Mike's Mike is somebody people keep telling me to get.
I fear that in the comments of this video, they're going to be like, she is not the Glee expert. Where is Mike?
They did that for Pretty Little Liars. They did that to Dylan. Poor Dylan. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for, I think maybe she said A+, I think I heard her say. So thank you for the A+.
That's enough.
And
thanks.
Cool. That was good. That was great. Okay, now let's do a completely different show. Heroes. I like to do a fun, silly show and then a dark, moody show. I actually watched the first episode of Heroes back in high school. It was on Netflix and I wanted to watch the show, so I sat down and watched the first episode and I was so overwhelmed and confused that I turned it off and I never looked back. Until today. They brought it up so many times during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, I just had to see what all the hype was about. Also, I'm pretty sure Drew blatantly called me out directly when he briefly mentioned this show in a video he made a few months ago.
Heroes. This show was so fun to watch when it first came out. I remember the finale being like hinted at from the beginning, so you kind of knew where everything was going to converge.
I don't think it could be any more clear. Okay, game on. Let's just skim through the first episode.
They say that man uses only 1/10 of his brain power.
So this guy's a dope. This is Mohinder, and his dad was studying something that he tracked to New York City, and there he was killed, presumably for his research. So his dad was looking into like superhero stuff, I think, and then he died because of it. Psych! I don't think he's dead. There's a cheerleader named Claire, and she can't die. She heals basically instantly. She's invincible, essentially. There's this clip of her jumping off the bridge that was used in every single promo during every commercial break across all of media back in the day. I think I also saw the scene where she puts her hand in the garbage disposal. I saw that by accident when I was a kid, and it's burned into my memory forever. She also has this iconic moment where she saves somebody from a train derailment. Claire in this episode has got the most badass moments in television history, I'm pretty sure.
Besides the fact that it was so gross, I almost fudged myself.
Dude, what? I think there's gonna be a scene in the show where somebody dies, but before they actually die for real, Claire is gonna use her powers to save them. She's kind of invincible. She's going to pass the powers on to someone else and save their life, and that'll bring that person back to life. But in doing that, Claire is gonna lose her powers. Next, we're introduced to Hero, and he is the best. The first scene that he's in is hilarious, and Hero seems like the only person on the whole show that's actually excited to have powers. Everyone else is kind of scared of it, but Hero is hyped. He freaking loves it. He's got this friend who's also hilarious. They're both incredibly likable the whole time they're on screen. I love all of this. And because the friend is so likable and he doesn't seem to be a main character, I'm afraid he's going to die. But I also think the friend is gonna develop powers of his own. Hero has the power to like control time and teleport, but his friend doesn't believe him when he tells him that because the friend is he's so certain that nobody is special. Same thing that Finn said in Glee, right? And characters like that always end up being special in some way. Then there's also this character Nikki who has like Jekyll and Hyde type of vibe going on.
How long?
Just a couple of hours tops.
There's some ice cream in the fridge.
In the fridge, so it's melted then. Great.
I'm seeing things. Like I keep feeling like someone's watching me. Someone that I can't see. Does this make any sense to you?
No, obviously not. What? Did you expect her to understand what you were saying? You're speaking nonsense. Her powers are basically that she has this alter ego, and the alter ego is a menace. There's this scene where she kills these dudes and she cuts this guy in half. I mean, what the hell? There's also this guy, Isaac, who can paint pictures that kind of tell the future. So everything that he paints ends up coming true. Just paint a picture of a winning lottery ticket, baby. He paints this picture predicting a nuclear bomb going off in New York City. And that basically seems like it's going to be the apocalypse. It's going to be the end of everything. Oh no. They're all going to need to come together and stop that from happening. Obviously, at some point, everybody with powers is going to group up and form a little super team. But I do think that Nikki is going to be hesitant to join. She's going to be like the Bruce Banner of the group. She has this alter ego that she can't really control. But then eventually, once she figures it out, she's going to be very powerful. She'll be able to just, boom, here comes the bad me. Let's do this thing. Also, they established that Isaac is addicted to drugs. I think he's gonna overdose on drugs and he's gonna die. But after that happens, the rest of the super team is gonna be like, oh no, we need somebody with Isaac's power to stop the apocalypse, right? So they're gonna have to go find somebody else to take his place. And that is when Mohinder realizes that he can do the same thing. That's when he'll realize he has powers and he can tell the future. The guy who was tracking Mohinder's father is now tracking Mohinder, and we don't know about Mohinder's powers yet, or even if he has any, but I think the guy following him is some kind of government agent, and he's probably tracking down people with superpowers, and I assume it's so they can kill them? Like the government doesn't want these heroes around, so this guy is finding them, and then they can secretly make them go away. But I kind of have a feeling this guy is actually going to be a good guy. He's just got that look like he's a slimeball, bad government agent type of thing, but I think that's a pilot episode fake out again. And oh my goodness, he's actually Claire's dad. And I think at some point, very specifically, he's gonna learn that his daughter has powers and he is gonna have to sacrifice himself to save her. Oh no, Claire has powers, but they're taken away from her and she's gonna die. And he's like, no, take me instead, because I'm a good daddy. There's a scene where everybody in the whole show looks up at the sky and sees a solar eclipse happening, and I'm assuming that's how they all got their powers, some kind of solar cosmic shift thing, but I don't think that it was random. I think all of the people got these powers based on like a past trauma of some kind. So for example, I think Claire, she might have been in a life or death scenario, and then the cosmic shift happened and she got powers, like she's invincible now. And maybe somebody like Hero was sitting at work dreading his life, right? Like just wishing the time away. And then the shift happened and it's like, boom, now you have the ability to move time and space, okay? And I think the government may be involved in that in some way, like the government chose these people specifically because the government is always the bad guy. Also, I know I didn't mention him, but I have to bring him up now because I have a guess about it. This character, Pete, thinks he can fly, and he jumps off a building to show his brother that he can fly. Well, turns out his brother's actually the one that can fly. So his brother flies up to save him, and Pete's like, what the frick? I thought I could fly, but apparently you can fly? Like, what's going on here? He's a bad guy. I think that'll be revealed after the government wants to assassinate him. So he's a politician, and he's a superhero. So I think he's gonna be out there kind of spilling the beans about superheroes. And the government doesn't want people to know about the superheroes. They just want them dead. So they're gonna be like, assassinate this guy. Okay, let's assassinate this guy. Can we do that? Can we assassinate this guy? But right before they assassinate him, he's gonna be like, wait, I'm actually a bad guy. I'm on your side. I'm gonna help you kill the rest of the heroes. The show ends with to be continued. It's a cliffhanger, and they think that's gonna stop me from knowing exactly how this is gonna go. Embarrassing for them. Anyway, woof. Some general stuff, some specific stuff. Let's check in with Drew and see how perfect I was. All right, guys, we got Drew Gooden here. Everybody welcome Drew. Hello, Drew. Thank you for coming. Let me first preface this. Drew wanted me to preface this. He is an expert on this show.
No.
He knows everything about this show.
That's not what I said. I said quite the opposite, actually. I said I was at one point an expert on this show, not so much anymore. So anyone who is a Heroes expert in the comments, just keep your expectations in check. I know some about the show. I used to know a lot. I'm doing my best here.
And that's all we can ask for.
I know. I do know more than you do right now, so that's what's important. And I'm happy to say that all of your guesses are 100% correct, so we don't even really have to go over them.
All right, cool. Thanks so much. We'll catch you next time. One by one, if you just want to click on that first one, see what we got. What do you think?
All right, so your first guess, obviously, I like the confidence. Obviously, everyone will eventually group up and form a little super team. I think Nikki will be the most hesitant because she can't control her powers, but eventually she'll figure out how and be super. They don't ever really like band into like a big like Justice League or Avengers type thing where they have like costumes. They've got like a headquarters they all work out of. They kind of pair up occasionally, and they're all generally on the same side. I mean, yeah, I would say that they team up, but just not in like the traditional sense.
In my thinking, it was kind of like if you're seeing like one of those dark rooms with computers all over the walls, more like that type of team, and not like you said, the superheroes and spandex.
Yeah, I don't even know how much they like all work together. Man, you've already stumped me with that. They work together a little bit, but it's not quite like that. I'm pretty sure Nikki died in like season 2.
You're just watching the whole season 1 on like 10 times speed right now.
Yeah. No, I'm on the Wikipedia page and I control F'd the word Nikki. So I'm just.
I'm not even in a joking way. This is probably stressful for you to have to like bear this burden. So I am sorry for that.
A little bit. It's all on me though, because I did agree to do this. I did a couple hours of research earlier, but already I researched the wrong things because I'm like, Nikki, I don't remember.
I also will say it is your fault for briefly mentioning this show for like 2 seconds in a video months ago.
It's not like they have the traditional super team, but they're working towards the same goal. They have the same enemy in mind. And as the enemy changes, then they are like, well, now we got to focus on this guy. Oh, now this person's bad. We got to focus on them. So I'd say they're a super team. I'd say pretty good guess.
All right, nice. So that was the one that I thought was obvious. So as we go along, I'm actually really scared of where this is going to
go. Yeah, you did start it with obviously. Everyone got their powers from some kind of cosmic shift, but the people aren't random. Something to do with past trauma. They were picked on purpose, probably something like all of the world's government hand-selected these specific individuals to be given powers. The government is always the bad guy.
So,
no.
Damn it!
No, I don't think the government is very involved in anything in this show. I don't think that like regular people ever really find out about the super people, because the very end of the last episode is Claire. She's like, watch this, the news is there, and she jumps off and like, you know, survives a big fall as a way to announce to the world that they exist. So I don't think up until that point that anyone knew, so the government couldn't know.
See, now I have a lot of stuff about the government.
Oh God. I think the painter who tells the future will OD and die before the end of the first season, leaving everyone to search for a new hero who can tell the future to take his place. That's when Mohinder realizes he also has powers. Interesting. I gotta fucking Google this. Is Sylar's thing that he can like absorb people's powers when he kills them?
Ooh, I never met him.
Oh, you don't know who Sylar is?
No, I guessed that about somebody else though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. It's all coming back to me now.
Oh, good.
So Siler's like the main villain of the show for most of the show. And he gets introduced, I thought it was like right away, but I guess it's only later in the season. Eventually he has this shift where he becomes good and it's very like forced. But his whole thing is he like cuts people's heads open with his finger. And the reason he does this is to absorb their powers. So he ends up killing the guy who you predicted would OD so he could steal his power. So you're right in that someone else, that power moves on to someone else.
What I'm hearing is that I'm absolutely right, because that's what I hear.
And then does Mohinder have powers? After being doused in the perfected formula, all of his other abilities were taken away and he was left with enhanced strength. I guess he earned them from being doused in a formula? So did you predict that it would be like a science experiment? No, it's gross.
I thought it would just come to him one day, like puberty.
Okay. The next one is sort of a continuation of that. Mohinder's dad, who we're told died in episode 1, is actually still alive. Wrong. He's faked his own death and has gone into hiding. Wrong, because he needs more time to track down whatever he's studying. Wrong. He's dead.
Dude, I'm glad that finally we've gotten to a point where I'm absolutely wrong and you know it right off the bat.
Finally. I've never been more confident. And the reason I'm confident is because his Wikipedia page is one paragraph. There can't be some twist. Claire's dad, the one tracking down Heroes, will end up being a good guy. I think he works for the US government at first. But goes rogue when he learns that his daughter also has powers and ends up sacrificing himself to save her. I feel like he is a good guy for most of the show, so I think you got that right.
But he did not work for the US government because he was wearing a suit.
I guess they didn't come out and say it explicitly, but the suit is kind of a dead giveaway. Okay, I'm control F'ing the word government on his page.
Control F suit, just in case.
There are 2 results for government. Noah Bennett has begun to revive the company under the auspices of the United States government.
The auspices, you say?
Wow, I was talking all that shit.
That's right, baby. That's what it's all about. That's why we do this series.
I feel like that's like a... So you pretty much nailed that. He doesn't sacrifice himself to save her, but... There's no but. Yeah, he doesn't sacrifice himself to save her. I'm going to give you 10 out of 10 points for being so close. You got the government, you got the suit, and you got the good guy transformation. So, yeah. Man, I'm so ready for the comments to be like, Drew, did you even fucking watch this show? What are you talking about? Since Pete's brother is a politician, he'll be a target for assassination when he starts to spill too much info. Too bad he's actually a bad guy. Okay, explain this bullet point to me.
Okay, so here's the deal. Pete, he's the nurse.
Oh man.
Oh man, I should forget that I asked.
How dare you ask a question?
He thinks he can fly. They never show him flying in the first episode.
Oh, that's right. He's trying, but it doesn't quite happen.
He jumps off a building and his brother flies up so his brother can fly. His brother flies up to save him. And the brother's like, oh man, I can fly? And I'm like, sure, buddy. Oh, you didn't know? He knew. And he's also a bad guy.
Well, what about the assassination plot? Like spilling
yeah, you're right. So the assassination, I was still thinking that the world government was involved. He's got access to the media and he's like, policy is involved, politician stuff.
Yeah, they're always working with policies.
So they're like, we got to get him out of here because he's gonna mess up our master plan because he has the ability to. So they're like, we're gonna kill him. As he's about to be killed, he's like, wait a second, you can't kill me. I'm a bad guy. I'm on your side.
No. What ends up happening instead, from what I remember, is that Nathan Petrelli, the politician, at the end of season 1, has to fly Peter into the sky because Peter's about to explode.
What?
So it's weird that you didn't predict that, because that is what happens. They both fly into the sky, they explode, but like out of harm's way.
Wait, is that the painting? The painting of like the nuclear bomb in New York City?
Yes. Yeah, that's what they're trying to avoid. And Peter, from what I remember, is like, as it's building up to that, he's like, I think I'm gonna fucking explode, man. He's gonna explode. And so Nathan flies him up and sacrifices himself. You'd think, though, that would be the end of both those characters because they fucking exploded, right? No. In season 2, it is revealed that Nathan suffers severe radiation poisoning and is badly burned by Peter, who he drops after being convinced. Okay. Yeah, so I don't think he's a bad guy. And no one tried to assassinate him.
Okay, well, so miss on that one as well, unfortunately. I know the beginning part of this next one is absolutely correct, so go ahead and read.
Hero is the most powerful and definitely a fan favorite. You're 100% sure of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, people loved him. He was the best. Such a great presence on screen. He was so easy to root for, and very integral to the story. So yeah, you're definitely right there. I think he's ultimately going to be the one to stop the apocalypse from happening. His friend will die, causing Hero to become more cynical and angry over time. No, because Peter exploded in the sky. His friend will die. I don't think his friend dies, actually.
Bummer.
There's also got to be a scene where somebody dies, but Claire uses her healing powers to bring them back to life. And because of that, she'll lose her powers. Okay, that's a bold guess. I know for a fact she does not lose her powers because she still has them in the last moments of the show.
Right.
So you're wrong on that. Can Claire heal other people? If Claire's blood is injected into another person, all their wounds will heal in a matter of seconds.
Hey.
Damn. All right.
Not bad.
I think you nailed that one then. Okay, there is one type of injury that it wouldn't work for. Can you guess what that is?
Broken heart.
Oh, yes. No, it's a tumor.
It's a tumor.
I'm not really right. I guess she can maybe technically heal people, but not.
Oh, not bring them back to life.
Not bring them back to life, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, so you're actually dumb as because you did say that they'd be dead. So
Yeah.
I can't believe I gave you credit. You want to know what the synopsis for the final episode is? On Peacock, the synopsis of the final episode is everyone bands together to try and stop Samuel.
Who the hell?
Exactly. Yeah.
Did not include anything about Samuel in my guesses, unfortunately.
Yeah, not one mention of Samuel.
All right, so then if we're looking back, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like I got very much right, but this is up to you to give me a grade. What do you think overall?
It's such an uphill battle to try to guess the end of a show like this, where there's so many characters, they're gonna keep introducing new characters, you could never even fathom what they would be like. It's such an uphill battle, I would give you a B-. Because you had some pretty solid guesses in there. Obviously, you're gonna swing and miss. You know, it's not like How I Met Your Mother, where it's like, there's really only way this is gonna end. He's gonna meet a mom. The ending of the show isn't in the title of the show. Like, you don't know.
I think they're all gonna be heroes. I should have guessed that.
I would have given you an A for that.
A really good batter in baseball only hits the ball like 1/3 of the time. So I'd say I'm a pretty good guesser.
Yeah, if you're batting 40%, you're like the greatest batter of all time. So if this was baseball, you'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thanks to my absolute expert, Drew Gooden. He didn't look anything up this whole time.
All off the dome, baby.
Well, I'm afraid that did not go as well as my previous videos. Not great guesses. Either that or my guests this time were just less lenient than the guests before. And if that's the case, how dare you, Hannah and Drew, on my own channel, humiliating me like that? Who do you think you are? It was fun for me regardless. I hope you enjoyed as well. If you have suggestions for other shows you'd like me to try to predict in the future, leave those in the comments. If you have an expert that you think would be good to help me on this, leave that in the comments as well. I know there's going to be 100 Mike's Mike comments. Mike, I would love to have you on. Thanks to Drew and Hannah for helping me out with this one. And an extra thank you to my patrons. Those listed here are in the top tier on there. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for the support. If you were interested in getting some merch from me, if you order today on December 8th, it should get to you by Christmas Eve. That's what the distributor said. They're going to try their absolute best to get everything there by Christmas Eve. Thank you so much. If you do get some merch, it means a ton to me. If you like this video, I have 2 others that are like it as well, or you can watch any of my other videos. Go ahead. All right, that's all I got for you this time. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.
Stop